So our cooperation included a wide range of activities, starting from documentation of human rights violations, and also initiating a legal action internationally, be that the European Court of Human Rights or quasi-judicial authorities within the UN. It included also reporting on identified violations, preparing shadow reports and submissions before the UN. And some of the works implied advocacy efforts for release of prisoners of war or international response for committed human rights violations and war crimes. So we have official and non-official data. Of course, the numbers are significantly undermined by Azerbaijan. At this point, they acknowledge the captivity of 33 prisoners. By the way, they challenge also the status, sometimes claiming just the detained persons, Armenians, in Azerbaijan. But human rights documentation proves that additional 80 prisoners were in Azerbaijan. So those prisoners were arrested by Azerbaijani troops. They were alive during this operation, and it's up to 2 years. Azerbaijan denies any connection with those prisoners. Concerning missing persons, again, several numbers are being circulated. The methodology is different according to the data provided by ICRC. Currently, the number is 303. From our side, we represent 90 missing persons. So, according to our data, we have information about 90 missing persons. So many captivity cases occurred after the trilateral statement issued on the 9th of November. The next day, a dozen of civilians were captured on their way to Artsakh. This Berzo road. Then we had another big incident in mid-2021 when our Armenian troops positioned in Hadrut region, Khazaberd and Hintagher, were encircled by Azerbaijani troops. And there was no significant assistance provided by Russian peacekeepers, and 64 soldiers were taken into captivity in mid-December. But we had other captivity incidents within the territory of Armenia when Azerbaijani troops invaded sovereign territory of Armenia. We have 6 more captives from Gelal Kunik incident, and in Nishkhanasar 32 captives. So a vast majority of captivity cases come after the war period. So we don't have the exact number, or we just can sum up this data based on our database and our legal case docket. So we have 66 cases concerning civilians. During captivity in Baku, but also under the physical control of Azerbaijan in their own settlements. As concerns to POWs, according to our calculation, this number is over 20. If we are talking about these 33 captives, now there is regular contact with families through the channel of ICRC. Now we have relative normalization of these contacts with the external world, but this was not the case for the whole period of captivity. During the initial several months, all captives were kept incommunicado. For some prisoners of war, no visitation by ICRC was possible at all. Many POWs just received ICRC several days before their repatriation. So I can confirm that the regular and immediate access to ICRC was not ensured by Azerbaijani authorities during the conflict and after the conflict, but after a year with the engagement of international community, these contacts were restored, and currently ICRC has more normal activity in Azerbaijan. We have 5 captives that were returned, and this return followed a high-level meeting between Armenian and Azerbaijani leaders in Brussels on the mediation of EU institutions. Though these meetings were not a success in terms of resolution of issues of political nature, but progress was recorded in terms of humanitarian gesture, and with the support of EU, 5 prisoners were released. 4 belong to the group of Khatsaberd and 1 to the group of November 16 captives. And we see also links between the surrender of Berzor and Tavavnoy settlements to Azerbaijani side, which was outside the trilateral agreement, and this so-called humanitarian gesture by Azerbaijan. So our work implies also good cooperation with state bodies, institutions. We're particularly happy with our cooperation with Ombudsman of Artsakh and also Armenia. We exchange information about human rights violations. And when we face also human rights issues relating to return POWs, from legal, social, and other perspective, we attract their attention on those issues and request their response in their official capacity. We're working with law enforcement authorities to investigate the war crimes by Azerbaijan. So basically, in a legal arena, we have quite good cooperation. But what concerns the political actors, we're not happy with cooperation. Their statements create huge obstacles for our legal job because they don't reflect the law, and sometimes they don't possess the facts on the ground, and their statements sometimes are influenced by international actors. So we see dangerous the activities of political figures, and in terms of expectation, we think that law enforcement authorities should be more efficient in investigating crimes committed by Azerbaijan and working with international bodies in order to achieve identification, arrests, and mutual cooperation in criminal area to bring those people to justice. This implies cooperation with other investigative authorities worldwide based on universal jurisdiction. And from political actors, we expect more efforts in order to pressure internationally Azerbaijani authorities to be compliant with at least humanitarian commitment. And for that purpose, we see that Armenian authorities should not legitimize those talks which are not productive and which includes demands of cessation in order to release Armenian POWs. Definitely, diaspora had and should have a role in issues of external policy. The issues relate to security and safety of Armenian population in Artsakh and Armenia. I think they need to work closely with the governments in their countries to push for more pro-Armenian political agenda. So the role is very important in advocacy and lobbying activities, but also the diaspora should work with the government to pressure for international sanctions. We see double standards and selectivity when human rights violations occur, and we saw very effective response in the context of Ukrainian war, but no measures for Armenian population in Artsakh to prevent further war crimes by Azerbaijan.